The objective today is to turn this humble can of soup into a stove. Let's do it.
Now I've started out obviously simply emptying the can of its contents and removing the label. In terms of the tools, we're going to use this Leatherman tool here. We might use the pliers a little bit, but importantly, we're going to use this, which is an awl. We're also going to use these tin snips. We're going to start here by making holes all around the top of the can. You'll see in just a minute here that we're going to repeat this process on the bottom of the can. Now we're on to the bottom of the can, and the purpose of these holes is to allow the inflow of air to our fire. The holes on the top are for outflow, so we want draft, right? We want fresh air, oxygen coming in to feed the fire, and then we want our hot gases to go out those top holes. I'm going to place another really large hole right here. And this is so that we can feed the fire even after we have placed the pan on top. Yes, I probably should have been wearing gloves while I did this, and you should if you're going to do it. All right, that's it. We are all finished with our simple hand tool construction. Now it's time to get into the backyard and try this thing out. Let's hit the fast forward button here for a minute. What I'm trying to do here is get some coals built up in the bottom of the stove. Then I can put the pan on top and feed through my feeder hole. That's the idea here. Okay, coal bed established in there, and now we're feeding from the side and getting our pan on. We're going to be testing the stove with some bacon and eggs. Yeah, and this is where I was careless and broke the yolks, so we're going to do a bacon and egg scramble. How about that? All right, we're all done. I'm going to eat, and then after that, I'll give you my final thoughts on this stove.
Alright guys, it's the next day and the stove is obviously now cool to the touch. So let me give you my final thoughts here. First, it worked. I was obviously able to start a fire in it, maintain the fire, and cook the food. The stove started really nice and burned really well until I put the pan on. And I think there were essentially two problems once I did that. Number one is I had a bed of coals that had built up to about here, so these holes down around the bottom were being covered. So I think the next one of these that I'm going to make, I'm going to put another row of holes, maybe even another 2 rows of holes, so that even when that coal bed starts to build up, I'm still able to get airflow into the stove. Now, I didn't show it in the video because it would have been kind of boring to watch me just blowing on the fire over and over. But essentially the workaround I used here was a little pocket bellows, a little tube, and I was just kind of constantly blowing air into the front of this stove to try to address the problems of inadequate airflow that I was running into. The second issue is that with the pot on top, I think I was struggling to get heat going directly up to the bottom of the pan. And that problem was partially because I wasn't getting adequate airflow down here, but also because the whole top of the can is blocked. Even though I had these holes up here, I think a lot of my heat was just escaping out of this feeder hole here. And you can see that in some of the footage, flames just shooting out of there. Really what you want to see in this instance is flames shooting out of the holes up here, and that was happening to some degree, but not as much as you would like. So I think if I was to use this same design, other than adding that second row or third row of holes, I also just want something to bring the pan up above the stove about an inch. I think what that's going to do is mean the results of that combustion, that is the flames and heat, are going to come out the top as opposed to out the side. I'm not sure exactly how I would accomplish that right now, especially because I'm trying to do all of this really simply and with hand tools. So if you have any ideas of something I could kind of build into the can or on top of the can that would just lift that pan about an inch off the top, let me know in the comments. But all in all, guys, I had a lot of fun putting this together in the basement and using it in the backyard. Already looking forward to version 2 of this Hobo stove, so look for that soon. Thanks for watching.